Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing the third Doctor story, Planet of the Daleks, from the Season 10 set. And this gave me a perfect opportunity to watch something from one of my standard sets and put them to work so I can keep my shelf queens up here looking gorgeous. Simon, of course, one of my patrons, has been a huge supporter with these standard editions and has sent probably about half of them that I have up here, actually. And then Colin also sent one of them as well. I appreciate them both. And I definitely want to give them a shout out. I like Planet of the Daleks. Now, Planet of the Daleks is one of my least favorite Pertwee stories. But there are no bad Pertwee stories. There are no bad Pertwee stories. He's the only Doctor I can say that about, where I just don't think he has a bad story. They're all some degrees of good. Keeping in mind, he has a couple I've only seen once, so we'll see how they hold up on rewatch. I'm looking at you, the Mutants and the Time Monster. I enjoyed my first watch through of them, but we'll see how they hold up on rewatch. But I was just in the mood to watch Planet of the Daleks. I've talked before on the channel, I'm not very enamored with this story. But it's still enjoyable. It's still a good story. There are some editing issues sometimes that were apparent to me on this watch through. Like when the Daleks are cutting through the door. And in one shot, they're almost through the door. And in the next shot, it still looks like they're barely cutting into the door. And it still takes them so much longer to finish cutting through the door. There's a couple moments like that where the editing, I'm kind of like... But it does have a lot of good things going for it. First off, the jungle set looks really good. Not Planet of Evil good, but really good. Like, I do like the jungle set a lot. We also spend a lot of time in the jungle in this story. And the set looks good. There are one or two shots where you can tell there's like a studio floor. Like, I see a path and I see that floor and it just makes me think of the studio floor. But other than that, I think the sets and the plants and the creatures... And I like the added effect of the TARDIS door being covered with the mucus, which fits into the plot. It looks really good. Love the Doctor's outfit. That velvet jacket is so iconic for the third Doctor. I love that outfit. Like the actors playing the Thals. Especially love having Bernard back. I always love when Bernard shows up in Doctor Who. Because he's in, let's see, he's also in The Mind Robber. He's also in, of course, he plays one of the head Time Lords in the War Games, the one that does most of the talking, and of course he plays a different Time Lord in The Deadly Assassin with Garth, something like that. Garth, something, I forget his name. The traitorous one. And I always like him. He just has that cool booming voice. He just has that very authoritative voice when he talks. He was the perfect choice for that Time Lord at the end of the War Games that sentences the Doctor. And so I always enjoy when he shows up in Doctor Who. So this story is automatically going to get points for having him. One, just his voice is so cool. But two, he is a good actor. He always does his roles really well. I feel like he might get the most to do here from an acting standpoint. I'd argue either here or Deadly Assassin. But I would say even more so here. He feels, of all the characters he plays in Doctor Who, I think this one is the most three-dimensional, which I like, but the whole cast is doing a good job. I like the Dalek voices in this one a lot. You know, the Dalek voices can be hit or miss in these early seasons of Doctor Who, and I think they're pretty on point here. I like the Dalek designs. The kind of all black Daleks in this one look sharp. The gold Dalek Supreme, which is actually from a Council of Supreme Daleks. I'd forgotten watching this when they mentioned the Dalek Supremes coming. I'm like, is it the Dalek Supreme? Then it mentions there's a Supreme Council. I was like, ooh, I like that. I'd forgotten about that. I wish they'd go back to that, to where they have like a council of Supreme Daleks. I like that idea. They need to revisit that idea. I love the fact they took one of the Cushing movie Daleks, did it up a little bit, and gave us this cooler looking gold Dalek. I liked it. I really liked it. Now, I watched episode 1 with the regular effects, because the cliffhanger to me just looks so much better. At the end of episode 1 with the regular effects. Like, I don't really like it with the updated effects. I tend to prefer this story as a whole more with the regular effects. This is one of the rare occasions where if I had to choose to watch it one way or the other, I'd watch it with the regular effects. That being said, the updated effects for episodes 2 through 6 are okay in some places, better in some places, not as good as some places. The problem with some of the CGI is it's very jarring with the 70s footage. Like, the Dalek ship landing and taking off doesn't bother me as much. It used to. It didn't bother me as much on this watch through, especially considering the original shot of the ship's landing and taking off isn't that impressive even by Classic Who standards. So I actually think the CG shot of it landing and taking off might be better. And I don't find it jarring, but seeing when the Doctor's looking in and he's seeing like the thousands of Daleks frozen and then later waking up looks rough. The ice flooding them looks rough. Again, the original models weren't the best there either. But the CGI just looks so jarring and out of place. When the bomb goes off and blows up the Dalek at the end, again, very CGI in one scene when it explodes out of a wall. A little jarring. I do like when the Doctor sees the animal's eyes, the creature's eyes, light up at night. I think the updated effect looks better there. So there are a couple places it looks better. That and in, I think it's episode 3, when the Doctor and one of the Thals escape and they put that little recording device on the Dalek, and there's a bit there where it shows the Dalek's viewpoint. The updated effects look better there. But overall, I do prefer the original effects, especially with episode 1, the cliffhanger. I do love that cliffhanger, even though we know it's the Daleks, because it's right there in the title, Planet of the Daleks. I love those when you have Dalek stories that say that, and then the cliffhanger of the first episode is, oh my goodness, there's Daleks. I love that. I love that. And I do love, 1, the original effect of revealing the Dalek. 2, the way Pertley does that line. Daleks! I don't know why. I just love how he does that line. Of course, Jon Pertwee is great in this story. His performance is really good. He gets his amazing speech, probably maybe his best-known speech, that or the Daisiest Daisy speech, I would imagine, about, courage isn't just a matter of not being frightened, That is from this story, and I love that. That is my favorite, third Doctor quote. But then I also like the fact, and I think people forget this one, when he gives his speech at the end of the episode about, you're known throughout the universe as a peaceful people. And I love Bernard's response to that is, well, yes, we hope to always be that way. I love his response to that, too. And the Doctor's like, well, when you tell everybody about this, you're going, when you get back, you're going to be heroes. When you tell this story, don't glamorize it, tell it like it is. He has a certain line he says there, I can't quite remember, when he tells them, when he basically tells them, tell the truth, don't exaggerate it, don't glamorize it, tell them about the people who won't be returning. I do like that speech a lot. There's no reason necessarily for that speech to be there, but the fact that it is there says a lot about the Doctor's character. And I like the fact that Bernard's character, the Thal leader, is on the exact same page. I really like that conversation between them at the end. I find the conversation between the Thal and Joe a little odd, with him wanting her to come with her and her like no, especially considering the Green Death is like the next story, isn't it? It just feels a little clunky and out of place, especially when the guy asked the Doctor, I asked Joe if she'll come with me, you don't mind, do you? And the Doctor's like, well, if that's what she wants to do. When just a story later, he's pretty broken up about Joe leaving. So it feels a little clunky knowing Green Death is next, that whole bit. The invisibility thing, there are some problems with the story. The invisibility thing being dropped so fast, like the Daleks trying to learn invisibility, just kind of goes out the window after episode 1 or briefly into episode 2. They just kind of, they get rid of that. The creatures being invisible is not utilized much. It's almost like that was a budget thing. Well, we'll just say they're invisible and put this little coat on them. It was like they did that just to save money. Which, if that's the case, sure. But the fact that these creatures are, slaves of the Daleks, when they're invisible, you would figure they wouldn't run around with those coats on. They'd just be invisible and escape. Although, who knows? Maybe the Daleks can see, infrared and all that and can see them somehow. I don't know. But I feel like the invisible creatures are kind of wasted in this. And it feels more like just an effort to save on the budget. and because the plot needs some of the Thals and the Doctor to disguise themselves as the creatures with the coats, it really seems like they had to do that just to make it work for the plot, and that bugs me a little bit. Oh, I forgot to mention how much I love Katie Manning's performance. Katie is great in this. Of course, Katie's always good, but she's great in this. And Joe is a character I like in this one. Joe is hit or miss with me sometimes, like when she, jumps out and reveals herself to save a bird in the Daemons. But she's really good in this one. She's got a lot of heart. I'm trying to think, and then they switched to the virus thing, and then the one Spiridon creature sacrifices itself to raise the lid up. I'm not quite sure his plan, unless it's to keep the door sealed, because you don't want that gas getting out. Especially considering that whole area floods with ice. Does that mean it gets out? I feel like that's a dangling plot point right there. Also, when Joe and the one Thal used a bomb toward the end to blow up some Daleks to buy some more time, I'm like, shouldn't you have checked with them to see if they need that bomb, or to see if they've made it yet? Like, what if you hadn't made it? What if they hadn't made it yet? What if they needed that other bomb? Because at this point, there was only 2 bombs left. Maybe you should have saved that bomb. But then again, maybe they were sitting there thinking, well, if we don't use it now, they're going to kill us. I have some issues there. I think the Dalek base looks good. Typical classic Who story, Dalek base set. I think it looks fine. It does a good job of conveying to me that the set is multiple levels and that the elevator is a working elevator. They're going to different levels. I totally buy that. So I feel like it sells itself really well there. The episode 3 restoration on the Collection 10 box set, I have problems with. I mean, it still looks good. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy we have episode 3 in color. The main reason I'm critical is I'm still convinced the DVD restoration looks better. Because if I'm remembering correctly, the Blu-ray restoration is a brand new restoration. It's not the DVD restoration. They did a brand new restoration on it. And the Blu-ray restoration doesn't look as good to me. I noticed that when I went from episode 2 to 3, and I especially noticed it after I watched episode 3 and I jumped back into episode 4, and episode 4 just looks so much better to me. Some of the skin tones look a little off in episode 3. There's a little too much red going on in places. There's a couple times when the Doctor and one of the Thals are in the elevator where this part of the screen turns red with their faces, and his jacket blurs slightly in the linings when he's operating the controls. Like, some of the scenes look fine. Like, you get the impression there were multiple people working on it, maybe, or something. Some of the scenes look really good. Some of the scenes look not so good. And I just feel like the DVD recolorization worked better, just for me. I need to go back and just watch the DVD set. I still have my DVD set down here. My Space War set, which has Frontier in Space and Planet of the Daleks on it. I know a lot of people like to watch these as one story, since one runs into the other, just a 12-part epic. One of my patrons, Steven, he likes to do that when he watches it. He likes Space War a lot. But for me, because they are so tonally different, it's just I'm very seldom in the mood for both at the same time. So I have no problems watching them separate. It's just which one I'm in the mood for. And I was really in the mood to rewatch Planet of the Daleks. For some reason, I just wanted to rewatch it. It's still good. Despite being arguably my least favorite Pertwee, it's always between Planet of the Daleks and Claws of Axos. Which one is my least favorite? But again, all the Pertwee stories are good. I still think this is an enjoyable story. I still like it. If I was ranking it, I might put it as C tier, possibly D tier, but probably C tier. It's okay. I enjoy it well enough. Yeah, I think that about covers my thoughts on it. And, it's fills out its 6 parts well enough, I guess. I watched it all in one sitting and wasn't sitting there going, oh, God. So I feel like it works as a 6-parter pretty well, and I can't say that about all of Classic Who. So I want to know what you think of Planet of the Daleks. And what you think. Does that restoration look different to you on episode 3? Which one do you like better, the DVD, the Blu-ray? Is it something that doesn't bother you either way? Let's talk about it. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button as well. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney, Sam Venning, Unknown289, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. I also have a P.O. box down there as well if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. Again, that's how I've gotten about half of these sets right here from people sending them, which I appreciate, mostly Simon and Colin, which I appreciate. And then I also have a link to my Amazon wish list. Links to the Amazon UK wish list are there as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.